Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Hi. Sorry for no music today. We ran out of time for the music, but good to see so many people in the chat. Welcome to my stream. Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me and see me okay? Everything looks to be good. Hi, Jacqueline. Good. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to stream number 19. Before we start today's stream, I just wanted to give a warm shout out to a few schools in Mexico who are great Smrt partners. Okay, so welcome to some of their students as well. So UTS and CCPM. This stream is brought to you by these two great universities in Mexico. So thank you very much. And to any of their students joining us in the chat, I hope you have a good time and welcome. So we are working with the present perfect today, very useful and very commonly used tense that we're going to review today, mostly the present perfect simple on today's chat. So, hi Gilmera, nice to have you here in the class. And Hamidou, Lolly, hello. Bimaljit, hello, hello Imad, Khaled, Nawar. It's very nice to see all of you in the chat. And yeah, enjoy. Make sure you participate if you want to, or just enjoy the class, and I hope it's useful for you. Hello, Nat in Ukraine. It's very rainy here in Vancouver. We're getting into the rainy season, so it's a little bit sad. Can't ride my motorcycle as much as I want to, but trying to stay happy even though it's rainy. All right, so I'm going to change the screen and we're going to get started. Let me see here. Okay, get my Smrt page open. So we have a good hour to be working together, and like I said, today we're going to focus on the present perfect simple tense. This is a very useful tense to review and to try and use in your everyday life when you're talking to people. Okay, so this is Unit 7 in the intermediate level Smrt curriculum, 120. This is Unit 7.1 and present perfect indefinite past. Okay, we say indefinite past because when we're using present perfect, we are never being very specific about when these events happened in the past. Just that they happened or didn't happen, but not about when exactly, okay? So taking a look at the first little dialogue here, we can see two people talking to each other. One person mentions, I haven't heard this album yet, have you? And the second person says, yes, I have, it's really good, okay? So the questions are about a past experience, but those past experiences are connected to the present conversation, okay? And one person says they have, and they can add to the present conversation by telling the other person that the album is really good, okay? So let's get into it. Reviewing the form, okay? Present perfect simple. We're using have or has as our auxiliary verb and a past participle, okay? A lot of the past participles are ed, ending in ed, but as you know, many are irregular, like swim, swam, swum, all right? Or drink, drank, drunk. So when it comes to your past participles and the irregular past participles, you just have to, start memorizing those ones. Hello, teacher Esatepec. I'm really sorry if I didn't say your name correctly, but you're from Mexico and that's awesome. That's awesome. I have a lot of Mexican students in my live in-person classes as well. That's awesome. I love Mexico. I've been there twice. And maybe going back in the new year. So getting back to our form, okay, we have our positive form, our negative form, and of course our question form. So just to review that, positive form, I have eaten breakfast today. Or negative form, I haven't eaten breakfast today, right? You have not had a cup of coffee today. Or you have had a cup of coffee today. They haven't been to many concerts, negative. Or they have been to many concerts, positive. All right. And we have our question form. If you want to make a question and it's a yes or no question, you start the question with the auxiliary verb, okay, then our subject, then our past participle. I often refer to past participles as PPs, okay? So if you hear PP, you don't know what I'm talking about, it means past participle, okay? So question form, have you eaten breakfast today? Yes or no question. Has she been to many concerts? Yes or no question. Okay, that's awesome. In the chat, I'm seeing a lot of people from Mexico, which is great. Welcome, welcome. CCPM represent. That's awesome. Hamidou, have you ever done this before? If you're talking about live teaching, before this experience, I had not. No, this is my first time. I mean, this is number 19, so I've been doing it a lot now, and I'm comfortable now, but in the beginning, it was very nerve-wracking. Yeah. So, Nayarana, bean is something we'll get to in a few weeks from now, but I can tell you now that bean is used in different ways. If we're using a present simple passive sentence, we do use been before the past participle, okay? And that's for a passive sentence. For example, the house has been sold. But just for a regular active voice sentence, we only use been if the main verb of your sentence is be. Like, I have been to Mexico, okay? So let's continue on. We're going to talk a lot today about the use. Hi, Lazar, welcome. Hello, Brenda. Okay, welcome, welcome. Lots of nice faces, names, lots of nice names in the chat. So when it comes to present perfect, it is a little bit of a challenging tense for many language learners. One of the most important things to remember is that what you're saying about the past, finished action, it has to relate to the present. That's why we have, this past with an arrow to the present, because your comment has to relate to the present, okay? We use the present perfect to connect the past with the present moment. What happened to you in the past has some kind of connection to the present, okay? Basically, you can say, like, we're thinking about the past and the present together. But present perfect simple is to talk about past finished actions, okay? Hello, Jesus. Welcome from CCPM as well. That's awesome. We have a big crowd from there. So Nawar, if you are saying, I have lost all my money today. I bet Liverpool to win, but they lost. Okay, yeah, you can say, I've lost all my money today. I bet on Liverpool to win, but they lost. That's a good sentence. Yeah. Benedicto, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Yes. Hello, Camilla. Welcome. So, Emmy, we are going to save that information for 2 weeks from now, if that's okay, because we're going to talk all about using present perfect and past simple in 2 streams from now, okay? Not next week, but the week after. today I really want to focus on present perfect simple, okay? Because we need to get comfortable with that. So here, if you're talking about a person named Jim, and you're like, oh yeah, I know Jim, present tense, I know Jim. Why do you know Jim in the present? Because I have met him before, okay? I have met Jim. So that's something that happened in the past, but it has a connection to the present, okay? Hi Vicky, welcome. Welcome from CCPM as well. In this example, we could say that this woman knows how to play the saxophone in the present. She knows how to play the sax. Why? Because she has learnt how to play the saxophone. Okay, that happened in the past. It has a connection to the present. Continuing on. So here, really common conversation. Maybe your friend asks you, hey, do you know where Chris is? Present question, do you know where Chris is? And you can say, no, I haven't seen him. I have not seen Chris, okay? So that is a lack of experience in the past. Hello, Hernan. Hello, hello, hi, hi. Welcome, welcome. And the next example here. Maybe you see a lot of commotion, many police officers, many sirens, ambulances, all of that. Why is that happening in the present? Because there has been an accident, okay? That happened in the past. We don't know when. That doesn't matter. It only matters that it did happen. Long, I'm sure everyone has heard because here I am. But yeah, you can definitely, you can use the present perfect. That's a good way to ask. Have you heard about Julia? She has been teaching English on YouTube. That's a really good way to ask a friend, for sure. Good job. Hello, Paulo. Okay, so we can read through this little information here. Oops. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It is often used, the present perfect, to say that a finished past action is connected with the present. I've already said that, but I will repeat that a lot because that's really important to understand. The other thing that's super important is that with present perfect, we don't care about when these actions happened, okay? If you care about when exactly these actions happened to you, you would not choose to use the present perfect tense, okay? You would use the past simple tense because past simple tense, you're going to give a lot of details about when exactly these events happened, okay? So our meaning is that just that it happened in the past and it's connected to our present conversation, but we really don't care when exactly it happened, okay? For example, the tree has died. We're all really sad because the tree has died. We don't care about when exactly the tree died, okay? If I do, I would say the tree died last week. Last week with the past simple. In this case, if I say, okay, Peter hasn't arrived yet, negative, lack of finished action, that means that in the present moment, we can't start the meeting because Peter hasn't arrived yet, okay? So as you can see, the past is really connected with the present. It's really common if you're picking a movie with a friend, you're having a movie night and you're looking through Netflix, and you don't want to pick a movie that your friend already knows. So a very common question would be, have you seen this movie? Have you seen that movie? Have you seen this one? The meaning for the present is, do you know this movie? Okay. Another good example here, in the present tense, the present situation, I don't know if I have any emails. Why don't you know? Because in the past, I haven't checked my emails, okay? So, yeah, keep the specific time out of it, okay? You don't need to mention that. So let's see the chat here. Emmy, since and for with present perfect, you are caring about the duration of time. We're going to talk about that next week with the present perfect continuous. That, we do care about how long an action has been going on, but we don't care about specific time of when the action started in the past. Yeah, Nayarana, past simple, specific time of the past action. Present perfect, unspecified time of the action. Okay? And bimalijit, we're going to get to some common time phrases that we do use. And Nawar, yeah, you can choose the tense that you speak in, but I would say that North Americans, Canadians, Americans, we do use present perfect a lot, especially just to introduce things. We use it at the beginning of our conversations. We don't use it consecutively within a conversation, but when we want to talk about things we have or have not done, we do definitely use it a lot. Hello, Hernan. I don't know if you can see or hear me, but we can definitely see your hellos. So no need to continue saying hello, but I hope you feel welcome. Thank you, Nayarana. Okay, so present perfect is not used if we are not thinking about the present. So if it's something that's in the finished past, we wouldn't use the present perfect. Okay, so look at these two examples, comparing them. If I say Adele has released 3 studio albums, that sounds good because Adele is still making music in the present moment. Okay, she's still an active musician. So it's good to count how many albums she has released with the present perfect tense. On the other hand, if I'm talking about John Lennon, who sadly is no longer on this earth, because he's not making music anymore, we would not use the present perfect tense. Okay, there's no connection to the present, just past information. So you should use past simple. John Lennon released 8 studio albums. Okay. Okay, so we're going to get to some of those time words. So Bekmarad Mark, I'm not sure what his story is right now. I don't think he's doing the live streams at the moment, but I think he's still around at the school. So if we're talking about time, sorry, I've gotten ahead of myself. I want to talk about some common adverbs that we use with the present perfect, okay? Really, really common. So these words mean at some time up into the moment of speaking, but not being clear about specific time, just at some time, a very broad, okay? And these words are like never, ever, before, lately, so far, already. We can use a phrase like in the last few days or in the past few days, yet, and recently. Okay? Hamidou, have you read this book yet? That's a perfect question. Really good. I'm going to go over to my document and make it bigger. And we're going to talk about these words and try to make some examples together. Okay, so. And remember, this document I will share at the end of the class, so you can have it for your notes after that. These are going to be a lot of your own examples, so definitely you should have it. All right, so we're going to focus on these ones for our examples. Okay, never, ever, before, already, so far, and yet. I want to come up with some good examples, and here's our first one already. Thank you, Bimaljit. I've never eaten Chinese food. That's perfect. So I'm going to add that in. I've often contracted. I've never eaten Chinese food. Yeah, and sometimes we can use both. We can use two words. I've never eaten Chinese food before. Okay? Before is optional, so you don't have to have it. Now, never just means at no time in your life up until the moment of speaking. At no time in your life. Okay? And okay, Nayarana, they're a little bit different, used a little bit differently. We're going to get to that. It's about negative and positive, and what you're focusing on, what you have accomplished or haven't. But we'll get to that. Nawar, I have never been to Canada before. That's another good one with never. I have never been to Canada before. Good, good. And Emmy, you say you have never visited Canada. Good sentence as well. Seema, I have already completed my assignment. Good, using have and already. Good. Whoops. Let me add that. I have already completed my assignment. Yeah, maybe you're talking to a friend, or you're with a friend. She's working on her assignment and you're not, and she's like, why aren't you working on your assignment? You can say, because I've already completed it. I've already completed my assignment. It's over. Or it's finished. And let me see, I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Gilmara, unfortunately, I have not been to Brazil yet. It is definitely on my list, but that's a great question. I will add, because it's a question form, which is when we use ever. Okay, if you're wanting to know about experiences in a question form, we use ever. Have you ever been to Brazil? Good. Lolly, have you ever seen this movie? That's good. Another question form using ever to ask about if something has or has not happened to a person. Have you ever been or seen this movie? That's good. Bekmarad, awesome. I'm glad you like Canadian English. So do I. Teacher says, have you ever been in Mexico? In Mexico is okay, but that's more like standing foot in Mexico. Usually we use the preposition to. Have you ever been to Mexico? And yes, I have. I've been there twice. It was awesome. I hope to go again in the new year. Gertie, I've in these days been in Montreal. Good, so I'll change your sentence a little bit. I've been in Montreal these days. Or, you can be a little using that phrase for the past few days. I've been in Montreal for the past few days. We're not using one of our adverbs in this sentence, actually. So it's a good sentence, but I'll leave it out of this section. Same, I've never been to Canada. Pace, I've never dared to talk back to my father. I've never dared talk back to my father. Yeah, sometimes to is deleted, but the first two, but you can have it. So, Emmy, ever is in a question form, and never is in an answer if you have never done it, okay? So, like, have you ever seen a crocodile? No, I have never seen a crocodile. Damien, the present perfect, the formula, well, the form is have or has with a past participle. when it comes to using these words, there are patterns, but no specific formula. Nawar, I have never had a car. Good sentence. Hamidou, you can talk about accomplishments, like I have won an award. I have completed the race. I have achieved my goals. But you're not being very detailed. If you want to go into a lot of details, we do change tenses. Let me keep up with the chat. Lolly, have you already done your homework? Good. Jacqueline, I have never read this book. Good sentence. Chander, he has not yet come. That's good. That's good. You can also ask or say, he has not come yet. Have you ever played soccer? Bek Murad, don't forget ed on your past participle. Have you ever played soccer? Seema, you are saying, I haven't gotten. In North American English, we use gotten as our past participle. I haven't gotten a job so far. I haven't gotten a job yet. Yet might sound better. Pez, have you ever been in debt? Good question. Gertie, I've never been in the Mac, but next weekend I'm going there. Oh, you mean the store. Yeah, so you would say, I've never been to Mac, but next, so it might be a little more common to say, but I'm going to go to one next weekend. I've never been to Mac, but I'm going to go to one next weekend. We don't need to one, but I'm going to go next weekend. So sorry, let me keep up with the chat. Yes, Hamidou, that's good. Have you ever eaten mole? No, I haven't. Gabriella, have you? Chander, never ever. It's not really proper grammar. It's more a speaking thing. When people want to put extra emphasis on having not done something, we might say this, like, I have never, ever seen anything like this before. So really it's just extra emphasis on kind of the shock of what you're talking about. She has never, ever traveled away from her hometown. You know, it's extra emphasis on the negativity. I've never seen a ghost. Have you? No, I haven't. Damien, which example? Guillermo has already been to the Mexican park. Yeah, you're sort of, I think, mixing a little bit of Spanish and English, but it is a good example. Guillermo has already been to the Mexican park. Ayan, usually we use the been instead of gone. I've never been to China. Gertie, have you ever tried, IED, past participle, have you ever tried snake? No, I haven't. Have you? Amir, I've been to the UK several times on business. Yeah, we don't need to say there at the end. Yeah, and don't forget S on times. Maya, I've had a vacation recently. Oh, that's nice. Did you have a good vacation? Gertie, it would be IED. The Y changes to I. Shannon, I have been to America. Yes, I have family there. So Amir, if you are going to use never ever, we don't start with ever, we only start with never. I have never ever been to Asia. Bilmajit, the police have arrested a young man in connection with robbery. Great sentence. We often use the present perfect to introduce news. There is a passive, Vladimir, and we're not going to focus on that today. We're going to focus on that in a few weeks from now. Not next week, but the week after, I believe. Yeah, a couple weeks from now. We're going to be spending the next few units talking about present perfect, the various present perfect simple, continuous, using present perfect with past and with present, etc. Let's see, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat. There are so many comments. You're welcome, Miss Ganu. Thank you for the nice compliment. Have you ever visited Algeria? Is a good question, and I have not. I would like to. I have not yet. Amir, so we want to use the verb been instead of gone. Bill Majid, Julia has taught English to many students. Good sentence. Yes, I have. Bek Murad, I've never been to Europe. Okay, have you ever eaten seafood? Good question, Ayan. I definitely have. So, let's see. I'm keeping up here. Bill Majid, I've seen 2 movies this week. That's a good sentence. We often use present perfect simple to talk about how many times we have done something. Have you ever read this book? Good job, Brenda. Have you ever traveled abroad? Good question. Yes, I have. Have you already overcome talking in public? Good question, Pays. Yeah, so Seema, lately it's commonly used with the present perfect continuous, actually, when we want to focus a lot on activity, like I've been going to the gym a lot lately, or I've been reading a lot lately. I have seen a lot of nice people lately. So it can be used with the present perfect simple as well. Ayan, I've already done my work. Good. Imad, the company has been in business since 2001, we would say. All right, so Long, I have never been to Scandinavia. No, I would like to. Okay, so just gonna take a pause for a moment here because we've talked about never, already, ever. I want to talk about so far and yet quickly here and give you some examples. So far is usually when we are not finished something, but we want to focus on what we have accomplished. So for example, I'm not finished my work, but I have finished, but I've finished half of it so far, okay? And you can put, you can put so far at the end of a sentence. It can also come at the beginning of a sentence. So far, the team has won 4 games, okay? So you're focusing on a positive, what you have done up until the moment of speaking. And maybe it will continue into the future as well. So again, you want to focus on what you have. She has visited 10 countries in her life so far, okay? And she will continue. Now, that's for so far. When it comes to yet, you can't see Tushara? Can you guys see me or only hear me? I think you should be able to see me. Okay, so far, usually with positive sentences, okay? And yet with negative, okay? So, for example, he hasn't called her yet. So it's negative. Hope, and usually when you have intention to do this, like I haven't been to Brazil yet, okay, but I hope to get there someday soon, okay? So this is one word. You have intention to do what you're talking about in the future, but you haven't done it yet. Okay, like Lolly's example, I haven't made my lunch yet. And comma's not necessary in that. Vladimir, I don't know if I totally agree with that. I think people generally do use past simple a lot because we like to give details. And if you're giving details, yes, we use the past simple. But when you're like meeting people for the first time, new, present perfect is quite common to introduce the experiences you've had in your life, getting to know each other, that kind of thing. So let's see here. Another example with yet. So I can't, for example, I can't leave the house because my dog sitter hasn't arrived yet. Okay? So I'm looking at the time. We should keep going, but let's see. It's kind of hard to answer that question, Vladimir, to be honest. I think it's essential to learn it, and I think it's essential to get comfortable with it. And like I said, I think it's very important when you're talking about your experiences, but you are not being specific on time. So, especially when you're asking other people if they have or have not done things. Okay? So, she has visited 10 countries in her life so far. Yeah, that's good. You can just say she has visited 10 countries so far. You don't even need so far. You can just say she has visited 10 countries. But if you use so far, it has the emphasis that she will continue to visit more countries in the future. Gertie, so far I have not finished my summer vacation. It's not really, I wouldn't use so far in this sentence. And in your case, because it's a specific vacation, I wouldn't use the present perfect. I would just say my summer vacation isn't over yet. Present is not over yet. Yeah. Nairana, you have completed 80% of grammar rules. That's awesome. Good. Okay, so that's it. We've got lots of good examples using never in saying what you have not done in your life, ever in questions, never ever if you want to be very dramatic with the negativity. Before and already are both about things that you have done before. Okay? Why don't you want to go to this restaurant? Because I've already been there. Okay? Or I've been there before. I want to try somewhere new. Why don't you want to visit this city? Because I've been there before 5 times. I want to go somewhere new. Okay? And now let me go back to Smrt. Nawar, that's impressive. Wow. Maybe more than me. Just kidding. Well, I don't know. I haven't counted my words. All right, so here are some good examples in Smrt. The weather has been really good lately. So there's another example with lately. Okay, and that's a very broad word when it comes to time, not specific. What have you done today so far? Okay, so, today is not over. So we can use present perfect with today. So if I ask, what have you done today so far? What have I done today so far? Today so far, I have taught 3 classes, I have eaten lunch, I have made a meal and eaten a meal, I have spoken to my partner, I have spoken to a few friends, I have gone on social media, okay? And today is not over. Another example here. Even though it's only 11 o'clock, I've already eaten lunch. Okay, so if you're saying this, it's at 11 o'clock. In this sentence, I know what to do. This is in the present tense. Why? Because this has happened before. So in a lot of these examples, we are using present tense with present perfect because they are connected. Okay? Moving on, unfinished time periods. So unfinished time periods means that the time periods are still open at the moment of speaking. All right? I'll give you an example of a finished time period. Yesterday. Yesterday is finished. Last year. Last week. 2 hours ago. All of those finished time periods are not ever used with present perfect, okay? Present perfect, you must keep the time period open. So today is not over. This week, this year, this class, okay? Here are some examples. I haven't seen John today. Have you? Today's not over. I'm trying to save money. I haven't spent much money this month. Okay. This month would not be over. Or you could say, this week has been difficult. This week is not over. Let me go back to my document and we can put a few more examples on your copy. Like I just said, present perfect can be used with unfinished time periods, such as today, this month, this year, this week. So I can say, for example, take off the bold underline. Good, thank you, Jacqueline, for the example. I have worked hard this week. Good. And Gertie, I have not finished my English classes today. You could say, I have not finished my English classes today. Good. Today is not over. Seema, I have been waiting for your reply, but you have not sent me an email yet. Okay? Because it's negative. If you're waiting, it's negative. You haven't sent me an email yet. This week I've been to Belgium. Good. Oh, cool. So close for you, isn't it? You can put it at the end too. I have been to Belgium this week. Did you eat chocolate? That's what they're famous for, isn't it? Chocolate? Belgium chocolate. Amy, I've watched Julia's class today. Good. Nairana, you can use past simple with today if it's at the end of the day. Like it's the end of the day, you're at home, almost bedtime, for example, the day is over. It's nighttime. Then you can use past. Louise, you probably wouldn't say that if you spent more time with me. Oh, thank you. So complimentary, you guys. Lolly, you love chocolate? Nice. Hello. Okay, good. So those are good examples. Another one with this year. I've been lucky enough to do a lot of traveling, and then the time period this year. Okay. So those are some good examples with unfinished time periods. All right, and I'm going to go back to Smrt, and we're going to finish off talking about experience. So I've already kind of mentioned it a little bit, but when we're talking about our experiences and we only want to introduce them, then we often use the present perfect tense, okay? For example, another unfinished period is our life, okay? We are still alive, obviously, and it's going to keep going and going, unfinished. So when we talk about life experiences, we often use the present perfect. And like I've said, ever and never and before are really common adverbs to be using, okay? This is not really about a personal experience, so not the best example here, but has there ever been a band more famous than the Beatles is a question using ever. And we can talk about our lack of experiences, right? Lack means missing, without, when we don't have those experiences. I have never eaten at that restaurant. How is it? So never means lack of experience. Adele has performed in this city before, so she has had that experience. Thushera, explaining the rules of using to. So yeah, we don't use it with home, like I'm going home. To is not necessary, but we do use to if we say whose home, like I'm going to my home, or I'm going to my mom's house, I'm going to my friend's house. But for some reason, if we don't say whose house, we don't use to, okay? Hello, Vanya. How's it going? Vladimir, don't worry, it's a very tricky tense, and it takes time to get really good at it. Okay, so back to the document, and our last part of it is using the present perfect with experiences, okay? So I want to hear some of your experiences. Either tell me some of your most cherished experiences that you have had in your life, but don't be too specific on the exact time of when these things happen to you, or some really cool things that you have done. What are some of the most adventurous things that you have done? Same as starting it off with, I have never seen the Taj Mahal in India. Neither have I. I would love to. Bill Majit, we can say, yes, we do need to with bed and to with work. Just not home unless you're saying my home. I'm going to bed. I'm going to work. I'm going home. I'm going to my home. Noir, you have suffered so many terrible days lately. That's too bad. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope things get better, for sure. And they will, I hope, I bet. Gertie, good sentence. Maria has never been to Machu Picchu before. Good. But I want to hear some of your personal experiences. What are some of the coolest things that you guys have done and seen and eaten and anything? Ronaldo, the best band in the world is Led Zeppelin. Okay, so you can use present perfect by saying there has never been a better band than Led Zeppelin. There has never been a band better than Led Zeppelin. And again, if you want to be very, put emphasis, see, it's not grammatically correct, like I said. This is not grammatically correct. It's a speaking thing, okay? But a lot of people do that. I've never, ever seen anything like that. Let's see some of your examples. Nairana, you don't need to in front of abroad, actually. because it's not to a specific country. So you would say, I have never been abroad. Emmy, I've eaten Indian food before. Right on. Hello, Gabriella. Welcome. Chandler, I have been a part of my team since long. So if you're using since, you need to give a clause in the past simple or an amount of time. If you use long, you would say for. I have been a part of my team for a long time. Lolly, you have never eaten Chinese food. Wow, you really should. It's yummy. Let's see. Seima, I've been to France lately. So Seima, lately wouldn't be with your sentence because that's like something that you repeat. So you should just say I have been to France. Amir, you have not tried sushi yet? You should. It's really yummy. Good, Jacqueline. JB, you have been to Singapore. You have eaten Japanese food a few times. Right on. Bekmarad, you have never been to a football match before. Gabriella, what did you say? I have never gotten 10 at school. Do you mean you have never gotten a perfect score at school? Well, don't worry about that. That's okay. There's still a lot of time in your future. Nairana, I have never traveled on an airplane before. Well, it sounds like you have some traveling to do in your future, hopefully, if you can. Nawar, I have tried riding a horse, but I didn't succeed. Oh, no. Hopefully it wasn't dangerous. I love horses. I love riding horses. Well, yeah, JB, never ever. It's not considered grammatical, but native speakers are not always grammatical. We often break the grammar rules. But yeah, there is I love that song. If you're talking about All Saints, right? Never ever have I ever felt. I won't sing. I'm an awful singer, but I love that song. And that's all that's a lot of present perfect in that song too. Good comment. Luciano, you've never eaten caviar. Wow, you should try it. It's quite good. Gertie, you've never been. So I'm seeing a lot of nevers, guys. Where are your experiences? What have you done? Let's say some things that you have done. You know, I have gone skydiving. I've gone skydiving before. It was really fun. I've gone backpacking around Europe with my best friend. Okay. Gilmara, you've never been to Canada? Well, you should come. Nice, JB. I love that song, All Saints. That brings me back to my youth, brings me back to high school or before even elementary school. Okay, I'm going to finish off talking about been versus gone. This is something that a lot of you have been struggling with a little bit. But when we want to use the verb go in the present perfect, so you have to make a choice between been or gone in the past participle form. When we're talking about traveling, okay, and going somewhere, been means that the person has visited the place and come back, okay? But if you're using never, we always use been, because you're just talking about not having gone and come back to a place. But gone means that the person has not yet returned. So you could be talking about other people, okay? So if you're asking if people have been to places, you use been. Have you been to the USA? Have you been to Europe? Have you been to Africa? Have you been to South America? Have you been to Canada? Have you been to Montreal? Okay. In this case, lack of something. I haven't been to the bathroom yet. I need to go. Of course, sometimes native speakers will use gone. I haven't gone to the bathroom yet. Okay. If it's negative here. Have you been to the gym today? So, because of this, been, like I said, very popular to talk about experiences. She has never been to another country. Has Tom ever been to work on time? Question form, ever. Where is Jessica? She has gone to the bathroom. Where is Diana? She has just gone to Starbucks. So in those examples, those two people are still away when you say that. Okay? And how many times? Okay, the last part of today's lesson is that when we're talking about how many times we have done something, it's very common to use the present perfect simple. Okay? For example, have you been to that restaurant? Oh yeah, I've been there a few times. Or question, how many times have you seen this band play live? Hi, Elizabeth. Is Allison ignoring you? I'm not going to ignore you. Amir, you have never been to France. Manuel, teacher Gabby, that's not me. I don't know, everyone's talking to each other, so it's getting confusing. Okay, so how many times present perfect simple? Let me add that one more thing to our document here. Present perfect. Okay. So, good, Beckmod. Yep. What are some more examples? How many pages of your book have you read? Yep. How many cookies have you eaten? Yep. Any more examples in the chat? How much time has passed since we arrived? For example. How much milk has been drunk? That's a passive sentence, actually. That's why I'm using been. Milk is the object, passive. And I can change that to how much sugar have they used? Nawar, right on, 6 months. That's good. That's a present perfect continuous sentence, and we are going to get into that tense next stream. Okay, so if you guys want to come back next week, we'll be doing stream number 20, and present perfect continuous will be added into the mix. Yeah, you can use the future perfect. Yep. It's not the most common tense, but you can. You're like imagining yourself in the future. Remy, can I say since we have arrived in my example? How much time has passed since we have arrived? No, because arrived is like over. It's a past simple, like I know it's not related to the present. You can say since we have been here. That would be more related to the present. How much time has passed since we've been here? Okay. So everyone, that does it for the stream today. I'm going to share this into the chat with you guys so you can have it. Brooke Murad, how many times Your question is probably more so, how long has she been watching TV? Yeah. So Bilmajit, the next lesson is next Tuesday, same time, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Yeah. And it's going to be about the present perfect continuous. Pace, how many apples have you eaten? That's a good question. All right, guys. That's it for today. So you're welcome. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, afternoon. Thanks for being there in the chat. I hope you had a good time. Those of you from CCPM and UTS, I hope you had fun and learned something new. So good. Keep on keeping on, as I think Neil Young says. Anyways, I'm going to put the document in the chat for you guys. Let me change the font here back to 14. And okay. Here we go. Here it comes. All right. So there's the document. You can make your own copy if you want. Keep it in your files. Don't be sorry for your mistakes, Gertie. Mistakes are good. You learn from them, as corny as that sounds. But anyways, I will sign off now. I'm going to go walk home in the rain. Have a good day, everyone. See you next week.